Hello everyone and happy Tuesday. Hope your Thanksgiving was great last week. It was a beautiful time together with some family and some friends and praising God and offering Thanksgiving for so many blessings. But I'm happy to be back with you. So the story that I'm going to be sharing with you today is called Angels Don't Need Legs to Fly. This was written by Stan Dale. It's one of the stories from Chicken Soup for the Soul, and I was very moved by it, so I hope you are as well. On one of my recent trips to Warsaw, Poland, the tour guide for our group of 30 citizen diplomats from the Human Awareness Institute in San Marco, California, was shocked when I said we wanted to visit with people. No more cathedrals and museums, I said. We want to meet with people. The guide, whose name was Robert, said, "You're pulling my leg. You must not be Americans. Canadians maybe, but not Americans. Americans don't want to visit with people. We watch Dynasty and other American TV shows. Americans are not interested in people. So tell me the truth. You are Canadians, or maybe English, yes?" Sad to say, he was not kidding. He was very serious. However, so were we. After a long discussion about Dynasty and other TV shows and movies, and admitting that yes, there are many Americans like that, but many more who are not, we were able to convince Robert to take us to visit with people. Robert took us to a convalescent hospital for elderly women. The oldest woman there was over 100 years old, and she was reportedly a former Russian princess. She recited poetry to us in many languages. Although she was not very coherent at times, her grace, charm, and beauty shone through, and she didn't want us to leave. But we had to. Accompanied by nurses, doctors, attendants, and the hospital administrator, we got to hug, laugh with, and hold almost all of the 85 women in that hospital. Some called me Papa and wanted me to hold them. I did, and I cried voluminously as I saw the beauty of their souls in their withered bodies. However, the major shock of our tour was the last patient we were to visit. She was the youngest woman in the hospital. Olga was 58 years old. For the past 8 years, she had sat alone in her room, refusing to get out of bed. Because her beloved husband had died, she no longer wanted to live. This woman, who once was a medical doctor, had attempted suicide 8 years earlier by throwing herself under a train. The train had cut off both of her legs. As I looked at this decimated woman, who had gone through the gates of hell because of her losses, I was overcome with such grief and compassion that I fell to my knees and started stroking and kissing the stumps of her legs. It was as if I were being compelled by a power much greater than myself. As I was kissing and stroking her, I was speaking to her in English. I only found out later that she did indeed understand me. But that was irrelevant because I hardly remembered what I said. It was something about feeling her pain and her loss, and encouraging her to use her experience to help her patients in the future with a greater compassion and empathy than ever before. And that in this time of great transition, her country needed her now more than ever. Just as her country was ravaged and decimated and was now coming back to life, so must she. I told her that she reminded me of a wounded angel, and that the Greek word angel, angelos, means messenger of love, servant of God. I also reminded her that angels don't need legs to fly. After about 15 minutes or so, everyone in the room started sobbing. As I looked up, Olga was glowing, as she had called for a wheelchair, and started to get out of bed for the first time in 8 years. You know, sometimes people get so filled with despair that they need someone to open their eyes, to help them realize that they still have value and that God still needs them. Maybe there's someone in your life that needs to be reminded that they are extremely important and that they're an angel as well. and God needs them. Think about it. Maybe help to transform someone's spirit and make them feel good about living. God bless you all and have a beautiful today and tomorrow.